Okay, it says we should be live. I'm just going to let people know in the chat that they're going to have to click the play button. Okay, and for those of you here that are not logged into the chat, I just put into the chat, if you want to log in using either your Facebook or your Twitter profile, you'll be able to interact and ask questions as you have them. And it won't post anything to your Facebook or Twitter or anything weird like that, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to give people a couple more minutes to join us, and then we'll get started. And today is going to be all about booking more weddings. So you can take the couple of minutes here that we have to grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, maybe grab yourself a drink. We'll be running probably a little over an hour today. But be prepared to take notes because you are going to learn a lot. Hi, Gunjan. Nice to meet you. I guess I should say. I'm saying it in air quotes. But thanks for joining us today. And Gunjan, could you let me know, are you able to hear me and see my screen okay? You should see the first slide. It says book more weddings. I believe that's coming up okay, but just want to make sure it is showing up okay for you. Okay, well, Brenda, would you like to get started?
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We are joined by Heidi Thompson of Evolve Your Wedding Business, and she's here to help you book more weddings. So I'm actually going to leave the stage to Heidi today. So Heidi, take it away.
All right, well, I have got one hell of a presentation for you today, if I do say so myself. But like Brenda said, it's all about booking more weddings. The 4 steps to finally attracting more couples and booking more weddings. So I have a question for you that I want you to think about. What if instead of struggling to book weddings, you could attract all the couples you need? I want you to think about what that would mean for your business, what that would mean for your life, what that would mean for maybe your mental stability, not stressing out and worrying where money is going to come from next month. And that's the question I want you to keep in mind as we go through this, because it is very possible. It's not just a pipe dream. So let's look at what you're going to learn today. You'll learn the one key difference between wedding businesses that struggle and those that thrive. You'll learn the 4-step process for booking more weddings, the foundational piece that most wedding professionals neglect that can render your marketing useless, why blogging is so important and what you should write about. and how to make turning those potential clients and website visitors into paying customers a whole lot easier. So, Brenda briefly introduced me, but who is this woman talking to you? My name is Heidi Thompson, and I run Evolve Your Wedding Business. I am all about helping wedding professionals like you simplify their marketing and do what works so that you can have more freedom in your business and in your life. So let me give you a little bit of context about how I got to where I am. And I am an American living in the UK, and when I was back in the US, that's really what started in event planning, and I started in nonprofits like the American Red Cross and doing all sorts of different events, largely fundraising events, and I loved all of it, the logistics of putting events together, the marketing of the events, the sales with nonprofit is effectively fundraising. And I loved events so much, I sought out and eventually landed an assistant position with a wedding planner. And if there are any wedding planners here, I have to give you credit. I am not made to be a wedding planner. It's just too much stress on the day for me, but I absolutely loved working with the wedding planner that I worked with. She taught me a lot about events, and I still love events. And I really love the marketing side. So when I moved here to get more into marketing, I became the digital marketing manager for Sendable, which is a London social media startup. I was the digital marketing manager at University of Cambridge in their department that's dedicated to teaching English as a second language, and I really began to miss the wedding industry. And I started to look around, and I saw that what was being offered really wasn't lining up with what people want. And as a marketer, I knew that that meant there was an opportunity. So I started the Alternative Wedding Fair. And the Alternative Wedding Fair was a fair in London, and it was a great success. It was so much fun. And it brought together the quirkier of the wedding vendors and people who wanted something different, something not cookie cutter for their wedding. But I found that I was coaching my exhibitors a lot because I wanted them to get a good return on investment on my wedding fair, and I realized, this is when it hit me, that, oh my God, not everybody studies marketing in their spare time. Something that I kind of assumed, I guess, because it is something that I've worked in and something that I know so much about. So that's when I knew that I needed to meld these two worlds together and bring my marketing experience to the wedding industry so that these awesome professionals I was working with could get to making the money they actually deserve to be making. So a little bit of what I've done. My marketing expertise has been featured in quite a few places, from Wedding MBA, Planners Lounge, Photo Business Tools, Book More Brides, just to name a few. Now let's talk about you. There is one key difference I see between wedding businesses that struggle and wedding businesses that thrive. And it's that those that struggle have not adapted to the new world that we're living in. And things have really, really changed a lot. It wasn't that long ago that marketing was entirely outbound. And what I mean by that is that it was just broadcasting, yelling messages at you through a megaphone, and that people could really only be reached in a couple of different ways. And then we had search engines and blogs and social networks come along and fundamentally transform the way people purchase products and services. Now, the problem here is that most wedding businesses are still using the same old, outdated, inefficient marketing methods, and they're just not working as well as they used to. Now, inbound marketing, on the other hand, the opposite of outbound marketing, which again is kind of shouting down that megaphone at everybody, brings clients to you like a magnet instead of chasing them around, screaming at them through a megaphone. I mean, just think about it. When was the last time you actually bought something from someone based on an outbound marketing tactic like a door-to-door salesman or an ad in a magazine or a cold call? I personally can't remember the last time I did that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't either. So I just wanted to include this visual to demonstrate the difference. Outbound marketing, standing on the rooftop, screaming to everybody in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, someone will pay attention to you. Inbound marketing is focusing on attracting, bringing the people to you, which not only is a lot less stressful, it just works better. And it's not just bringing anybody to you, it's bringing the right people to you. Now, the problem, of course, is that a lot of wedding professionals, okay, maybe you know that things have changed, but you don't know how to adapt to this new way of marketing because it's no longer enough to just put up a website and get your name out there and just hope that someone contacts you. Hope is not a marketing strategy. That's why I've created a 4-step process that's going to help you book more weddings. So let's dive into that. This is an overview of the 4 steps, and we're going to dive into each one in a lot more detail. So step 1 is the foundation. Step 2 is building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. Step 3 is get couples salivating over the prospect of working with you. And step 4 is getting couples to say I do to you. And I phrase it that way not just because it goes along with weddings. You'll see why I phrase it that way when we get to step 4. So a big part of your marketing foundation is defining your ideal client. And your ideal client is the person that you absolutely love to work with. And if all of your clients could be this person, your life would be awesome. That's who you want to focus on working with. And your business is not for everyone. That is completely impossible. Apple, one of, if not the most profitable companies in the world, doesn't, cater to people who don't like them. And I know people who don't like Apple. They focus only on the people who love them and love what they do. And that's what you need to do. Focus only on the people who your business is for. Now, your ideal client as defined by brides, grooms, couples, that's nowhere near specific enough. Your marketing and your website should be focusing only and specifically on these people. Because you can't make everyone love you, but you can make your ideal client love you. Think about this for a second. If you had a heart attack, would you want to go to see a cardiologist or a general doctor? Now, I don't know about you, but I would definitely want to go see the cardiologist. I would want to know that I'm in the hands of an expert, and your customers want that specialist as well. And you can become the go-to person for your ideal client because they want that same specialty that you'd be looking for. If you can become known as the go-to planner for quirky, fun, laid-back weddings, people who want that type of wedding are going to flock to you. And you're also going to make it a lot easier for them to find you. So I want you to think about your ideal client, and I want you to tell me in the chat. Number 1, what wedding blogs do they read? Number 2, how would you describe their personal style or personality? And number 3, what brands and products do they love? And these can be wedding business related or non-wedding related. That's totally fine. And if you don't know, that's fine too. I want you to take a guess because at least by taking a guess, you're getting started. You're making progress instead of just sitting and not knowing. Just take a stab at it. So let me know in the chat box. Again, the questions were, what wedding blogs do your ideal clients read? How would you describe their personal style or personality? And what brands and products do they love? So I am going to grab a quick drink of water here. And okay, I see that. Okay, if you are having issues with the video, I would try refreshing the page. Yeah, thanks, Brenda. But don't worry about it. I'm going to talk you through it, so if you can hear me, you're just fine. So I'm just going to grab a quick drink of water. Gunjan, I would love to know the answer to these 3 questions for your ideal client. And Brenda, I'm curious how you would answer these for yours as well.
Sorry, just taking myself off mute there. It's a really good question, and obviously I don't work directly with wedding couples, but I do work with wedding professionals, and it's been really important for me to stop and think where, get really, really clear around what those individuals are interested in, which social media platforms are they most active on, and I'm very, very specific. I'm probably more specific than most web development agencies ever are. You might see some who say they work within, specifically with small businesses, and I've gotten really, really specific to wedding professionals. And as a result, your example there, Heidi, about would you go to a general doctor or a cardiologist? People want to work with somebody who knows their specific needs as intimately as possible.
Yeah, and that's not to say, like, of course the general doctor knows a lot about the heart, but
Yeah.
when you name it and you claim it, and that is your area of expertise, even just stating it in the way you have, like, okay, wedding business websites, that's what we do, you're going to attract more of the right people.
And people will typically, if they have several options, they're looking at several providers who might be able to work with them if one really very, very specifically fits them and that's all they do. It's the easy choice. And I've even had people say that they were contemplating 2 or 3 different providers and they decided to work with me because I know their industry specifically.
That makes a lot of sense. It does make it an easy choice. And Gunjan said that Indian clients are different, and I'm really interested to hear what you... Oh, they go by reference. Interesting. But of course, you need someone at first to make that reference. You want to make sure you're appealing to the right type of people, especially if they are referrers. If they're going to continually pass your name on, and you couldn't stand that first couple, chances are birds of a feather tend to flock together. Maybe their friends won't be the best fit for you either. And a lot of times you will get people on referral, but you also want to make sure that you are attracting the right type of people into your business. So I'm going to keep an eye on that chat, but I'm just going to move on here. This is from Michelle Navanti. She is a wedding planner and said, quote, "When I first started Book More Weddings Academy, I was feeling really lost and overwhelmed because there are so many things you can do to market your business. I just didn't know where to start." And by the way, her business is 4 months old when she started this. She continues, "After going through the course, I was able to get really focused on who I wanted to work with. And that made things so much easier to manage because I didn't feel like I was trying to take on the whole world. I'm getting more phone calls and sales are so much easier because it's like I'm talking to a friend. It's actually fun now that it's so much easier." So step 2 in this 4-step process is building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. Now, you may have heard that you should be blogging, but that isn't good enough for me. I don't like to be told what I should do and then just leave it at that. I want to know why, and so I want you to know why it's so important. So first, Google loves fresh content, and the more blog posts you have means the more your site will have, the more pages your site will have indexed with Google, which really helps your search engine optimization and helps you be found. Your blog helps demonstrate your expertise because anybody can come out and say that they're an expert, but you can actually show it. And according to an unbiased survey of over 14,000 people married in 2011 by Splendid Insights, quote, more important than a website is an updated blog. Your website is your business card and the blog is the conversation. For example, 85% of Ritzy B's clients hired them because of their blog, and then those clients refer via word of mouth. Your blog gives people a reason to come back to your site. People aren't just going to come back to your site and keep looking at the same old stagnant pages with no new information. And it allows people to get to know you and like you, which is, of course, super important because we only do business with people that we know, like, and trust. This is shown in studies time and time again. If you have blog posts, you can use social media to drive traffic to them. That means that your social media becomes all the more useful and has a real purpose for driving traffic to your website. And when you have interesting content, your website visitors are going to spend more time on your site reading it naturally. And that means they're going to learn more about you and what you have to offer. Now, when you position yourself as a resource instead of just a service provider, you become much more valuable to your potential customers, and you really set yourself apart from your competition. And keep in mind, a lot of research goes into planning a wedding, so your website visitors may not be ready to book you just yet. But by giving them a reason to come back, they remember you when it's time to buy. When you build a blog, you build an asset that's going to bring you customers for as long as you have it. And there are even more reasons why blogging is one of the best things you could do for your business. I could sit here and go on and on all day, but I think you probably get the point. So, one thing people get stuck on when it comes to blogging is what to write about. It's the million-dollar question. So in the chat box, I want you to tell me one of the most frequently asked questions that you get from clients or potential clients who are looking to hire you. These actually make for fantastic blog post topics. For example, I get questions about all different types of marketing, and I kept getting a couple about how to use Facebook page insights specifically. So I took a hint, and instead of just replying to those emails and calling it a day, I of course replied to the emails, but I turned it into a blog post because usually if one or if a couple of your ideal clients have the same question, a lot more of them do. They're just not asking it. So you can actually turn these how do I type questions into how to posts, which are great. So Gunjan, if you have any questions that your clients ask you, or Brenda, I can imagine what some of the questions must be, but I'm curious what the questions you get most.
I get asked about Flash a whole lot, which is why when you had asked me to do that guest post on that topic, it was a perfect opportunity. Uh, and also, there can be follow-up questions that come from the blog posts that you write. I know we got a lot of feedback to that post about why Flash is a problem or if you should use Flash. And so we did a follow-up blog post on addressing those comments that we received. And I think, just like you said, listening to what your ideal clients are asking, listening to just being really aware of what the questions are, and sometimes they aren't asking them. If a few people are asking them, most people are interested in knowing the answers. And it's been a huge resource for us in terms of generating content. It is tricky to generate content on a regular basis, and it is one of the biggest frustrations I have as well. That I think mining your inbox can be a tremendous resource for finding that content.
You made a really good point about the comments, because in that post, I'm sure, it's a lot of, well, what about this situation? Well, what about that situation? Well, what do you recommend instead? And, you have a lot more opportunity to kind of spin off into those other topics.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, if you are putting the effort into generating blog content to bring your prospective clients back over and over again, and you're engaging them, and you're promoting those blog posts through social media, if you're putting that much effort into them, you want to take that extra step to really pay attention to the comments as well, because typically people will have opinions on them, and it's a great opportunity not just to engage with your prospects, but also to potentially generate more content for yourself in your marketing.
That is a great tip, to keep an eye on the blog comments. Thanks, Brenda.
I'm here. I'm here to help.
So I'm going to continue keeping an eye on the chat, but want to respect your time, so we'll keep moving. So step 3 is get couples salivating over the prospect of working with you. Now, every part of your website influences your sales, and that means that the way you describe your offers can either increase or decrease your sales. Every page on your site needs to be working for you. What I mean by that is it needs to be helping move the person reading it towards taking an action and getting closer to working with you. From your About page to your Services page, every page on your site needs a purpose. And testimonials can actually do a lot of the selling for you if you use them properly. Now, the biggest mistake that I see people make when asking testimonials is just emailing clients and saying, hey, could you write a testimonial for me? Or, hey, could you give me a review? Something vague like that. While it doesn't sound harmful on the surface, you have to keep in mind that the person that you're asking doesn't know exactly what you want. And for that reason, they may just postpone it and put it off and procrastinate because they don't actually know what to deliver to you. Or you might get something back that isn't really all that useful to you. So instead, send them some questions to answer. Ask them things like, how did they find you? Why did they choose you over other photographers or other wedding planners? How would you describe the process of working with you? How did they feel once they knew their wedding was under control? What types of people would they recommend you to? Then you can use their answers to craft your testimonial, send it back for their approval, and get a photo to add to it. I cannot tell you how many testimonial pages I see that don't have photos, and that's a problem because in our online world, we are all kind of skeptical. And that means that we all know that anyone can just put a blurb of text up and it doesn't actually need to be true or mean anything. But when you put a face with a quote, it makes it a lot more credible and it makes it a lot more relatable. And if you're a photographer, you already have the images. Just use them. Now, step 4. Getting couples to say I do to you. And I told you that there was a reason that I called it this, and it's because sales is actually just like dating. You wouldn't just walk up to someone at a bar and ask them to marry you, right? I hope. Then you shouldn't do that to your potential clients. You need a game plan for taking these potential clients from total strangers to totally in love with you and what you do. And that plan is called a sales cycle. Step by step, they move through your sales cycle, getting to know you and love you and your work more and more, and getting closer to being ready to work with you. Now, the real beauty of having a sales cycle like this is that you can systematize it so that it's simpler to make sales. There are a lot of parts that you can actually put on autopilot. That means that even during your super busy wedding season, there can be people moving through your sales cycle without you having to do a thing. You don't need more work. When you have a sales cycle that turns potential clients into paying clients, you can focus on just bringing in leads and doing the work that you started this business to do. You can even refine it over time so that you're only focusing on marketing where you're generating the most leads. This is going to make your marketing and your life a whole lot simpler. So I wanted to show you this graphic, and it is my sales cycle in a nutshell. So the first step here is that a prospect discovers me and visits my website. Then the prospect sees one of my free opt-in offers and signs up. This is the most important part, by the way. Then the prospect automatically gets whatever it was that they signed up for. It could be a PDF, a free report, a video. And then the prospect enters into an autoresponder series of emails. Now, if you're not familiar with what an autoresponder series is, it's just a set of emails that you write ahead of time and schedule to go out in set increments. So you can say, this one goes out 2 days after they signed up. This one goes out 8 days after they signed up. Now, I use these to build trust and credibility, and I include opportunities to work with me. After that autoresponder series finishes, the prospect starts getting just my weekly emails that go out every week with tips from my blog and opportunities to work with me. Now, here's the thing. The prospect gets my weekly emails for as long as they are subscribed to my list. And even if they never work with me, they're still valuable to me because they spread the word to others. I know that there are people on my list who have been there for a very long time and have just now decided to work with me. I know there are people on my list who have never shown an interest in working with me, but they retweet my tweets and they share my Facebook posts with their friends, and they're bringing clients to me. So I'm not complaining. It's another graphic to help you kind of picture how this really is a process and needs to be seen that way. So at first, the prospect doesn't know you exist. Then they've heard of you, but they don't really care about you yet. By the way, it sounds a lot like dating, right? This is what I mean. Then the prospect has heard about you, is interested in what you have to say, come and check you out. Then they compare you to competitors, and then they become a customer. This is a big topic, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, but I want to make sure I give you something actionable. So I want you to think about what a prospect needs to know before they actually book you, before they actually get in contact with you. Think from their perspective. What pages on your site do they need to see? What questions, concerns, objections do they need answered? I would love to hear that from you. And Brenda, what are these for you? I'm sure there are some common objections, common hurdles that you have to get over with people?
Yeah, price is a big one. I think that you'll probably find that across a lot of industries.
Mm-hmm.
People want to know, once they are interested in what you do and they feel that you're a fit, they want to know what it's going to cost. And I'm able to address a lot of objections, but also just provide a lot of information about what we do by having a really well-crafted information kit. So once they have reached out to me, I have something ready for them that I can pass on to them, and that moves them along the sales cycle. Either it helps identify them as well if they're the right fit for me.
Nice. What kind of stuff is included in that?
Well, there's a lot of, obviously web development is a fairly saturated field, and it gives me an opportunity to say, why we're a little bit different, how we do things a little bit differently, to highlight, for example, the fact that we have a payment plan, and that's something that is a little bit unusual in our field. So I can highlight that. I can also give examples of typical starting packages, and tell a little bit more about what the process looks like, because that's a long conversation to have through an email. So I like to just standardize it a little bit. But I think, like you said, it's think about what questions your prospect is going to have and you're probably getting on a regular basis, and then being able to answer it in one place. For me, I answered it in a info kit. Other times, an FAQ on your website can be really effective.
Yeah, FAQ pages can be gold mines. And I like what you said about the process. So a lot of people may have never worked with a web developer before, and they're going to have a bunch of questions. Oftentimes they're going to be a lot of the same questions. So instead of typing that out time and time and time again, why not put it into a system so that they can get the information they need without you having to do the same work over and over again?
I've actually done, and it does need refining to be updated to reflect current situation, but I've done our process as an infographic before, and that was very well received.
Nice. I like that idea. That could work really well, I think, especially for wedding planners, because they're very much like beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
But it could work for a lot of different people. Interesting. Okay. So, do you see how powerful this could be if you applied it in your business? Just imagine having the confidence that comes with being in control of your marketing and sales process instead of them maybe being in control of you and wreaking a little bit of havoc in your life. So let's talk about some results. This is Ross, who is a photographer, and he said, when I implemented what I learned from Heidi, I found that a lot more people were getting in touch with me via my website. Using the process I learned in Book More Weddings Academy, I was able to turn these people into warm leads and then into physical in-person consultations. Sounds a lot like dating, right? When you focus on marketing to them over time, you've built a really good level of trust with them by the time you sit down with them. They already feel like they know you, and that makes your job a lot easier because you don't have to go into a hard sales pitch. Now, this is Jacqueline, and I absolutely love Jacqueline's story. She says, Heidi's Book More Weddings Academy helped me figure out exactly what I was doing wrong in my marketing and exactly how to change it. After going through Heidi's course, I now have confidence in my sales process. I no longer feel like a cheesy salesman, and I'm actually converting more leads into sales. Email marketing is now a very big asset in my business and has been instrumental in booking more clients. Heidi taught me how to blog properly, and now I'm coming up much higher in Google search rankings than my competitors. A year ago, I gave myself a deadline. If after a year I was still in the same place in business, I would close it. Now, I'm in such a different place that closing my business isn't even an option. I have my plan now, and I know where I'm going. Now I know I'm on the right path. And by the way, it would have been little over a year now that Jacqueline set that deadline for herself. So had she have not taken action and learned how to book more weddings for herself, there'd be no business. She'd be back in a 9 to 5. So let's talk about you. You are here, obviously, because you want to book more weddings. So you have a decision to make. Are you going to continue doing the things you've always done and get the results you've always got, or would you prefer to take the shortcut and use a well-engineered, proven, step-by-step system for booking more weddings? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Book More Weddings Academy. It is my complete step-by-step system that will take you from struggling to book weddings to attracting and booking all the weddings you need. It's the fastest way to go from struggling to thriving. Book More Weddings Academy is made up of 12 modules that take you through the 4 steps to booking more weddings that we went over today. And there's a lot more to it than just the course, but let's take a look at the course. Step 1, as you recall, is the foundation. So Module 1 is how trying to appeal to everyone is sabotaging your business. You'll learn why defining your ideal client can make or break your business, how to find where they are and build a marketing plan around that, when to say no to customers who are wrong for you, and an awesome free tool to help you learn even more about your ideal client. Module 2 is figuring out what you really sell and why people love you. So you'll learn how to determine what you really sell, and it's not what you think. How to figure out why people buy from you so that you can use that to amp up your marketing. How to figure out what you are an expert on, and yes, you are an expert. And how to use that expertise to set yourself apart from the competition. Module 3 is setting yourself apart from the competition and thinking collaboratively. And in this module, you'll learn how to figure out what exactly sets you apart from the competition and how to use that difference in your marketing so that your competitors don't stand a chance. You'll also learn how to analyze your competition and identify potential partners. Module 4, how to use the KLT factor to book more weddings. You'll learn what the KLT factor is and why it is so important to your business. You'll learn exactly how to use the KLT factor to book more weddings and how you can use your own superhero origin story in your marketing to make yourself more personable and relatable. Step 2 is building a blog that draws customers in like a magnet. And in part 1, which is module 5, you'll learn why blogging is one of the most important things you can do and how to smash through the excuses you may have for not blogging. We'll talk about how the location of your blog can affect the impact that it will have on your business. And we'll go deep into what to write about. In part 2 of building a blog that draws customers like a magnet, you'll learn how to create your simple blogging strategy, how to write great posts even if you don't think you're any good at writing, how to get your blog post in front of your ideal client, and how to measure the success and impact of your posts. Step 3 is get couples salivating over the prospect of working with you. And in module 7, we'll be talking about how simple tweaks in the words that you choose can increase sales. You'll learn how to improve your sales by tweaking your website copy or the words you choose to describe your offers. How to demonstrate the value of what you do so that you get fewer price shoppers and people are happy to pay what you charge. And you'll learn how to describe what you offer in a way that gets your potential clients excited to buy from you. Module 8 is how to get couples drooling over the idea of working with you. And you'll learn how to prove that you're a credible professional that they can trust and not a weird amateur fly-by-night kind of weirdo who's take their money and not show up at their wedding. You'll learn how to get testimonials that do the selling for you and how to get referrals from your customers. You'll also learn why you need a great FAQ page and exactly how to create one. Step 4, getting couples to say I do to you. And in Module 9, you'll learn how sales is just like dating and what that means for your sales cycle. You'll learn how to define your specific sales cycle and systematize it so that it's easier for you to make sales. You'll learn simple changes you need to make to your website to turn it into a lead generating machine, and the best tools and tips you can use to generate more leads. Module 10 is lead generation, or how to rock your first date with your potential customer. You'll learn how email marketing can turbocharge your sales cycle. And don't worry if you're not the most tech-savvy person in the world. I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up so that you can start collecting leads. You'll learn what to offer in exchange for your potential client's email address and how to promote that offer so that you can build a list of people who are interested in working with you. Module 11 is all about nurturing your leads and making the sale, or from casually dating to saying I do. So you'll learn what to do with all of these leads that you're bringing in, how to demonstrate how awesome you are while providing value through your email autoresponder and your regular emails, how to convert your leads into customers and loyal advocates. And in Module 12, we're measuring your success. You'll learn how to track where your customers are coming from so that you can focus your marketing on just those sources. You'll learn how to determine your best traffic sources and then what to do with that information. You'll also learn how to determine what your most popular content on your site is so that you can do more of what works and less of what doesn't. So I told you it wasn't just the course. You do get lifetime access to all 12 of the modules. You also get a private members area to access and download all of your course materials, 6 group coaching calls where I'll answer all of your burning questions, help you get past any stumbling blocks, and make sure that you succeed. You'll get recordings of our group calls so that if you can't make a live call, you just submit your questions in advance and listen to the recording later. And you'll get access to the members-only Facebook group where you can connect with your fellow students and alumni, ask questions, share your challenges, get feedback, and swap success stories. The value of all of that is $1,997, but you won't pay anywhere near that much. I am actually throwing a few more bonuses in because I really want you to punch overwhelm in its big ugly face. So you'll get my super simple blogging system, which is a full play-by-play of the systems I use to produce, distribute, and email blog content to my list. You'll get to watch every step in my process over my shoulder, courtesy of a screencast video. You'll get the Wedding Marketer's Toolkit, which is the complete guide to every sysadmin tool I have running in my business. You'll get a how-to for all of my favorite tools, including Hootsuite, Evernote, and my personal best friend for life, Buffer. You'll get your blog promotion checklist. So if you're wondering how to get the word out about your blog, this is going to give you the rundown of everything that you need to know about promoting your posts, from how to get those shiny new blog posts in front of your ideal clients to how to automate it and make your life easier. You'll also get my productivity hacks handbook, because something I see a lot is that wedding professionals often struggle with time. There's never enough time. So you'll get my favorite tricks and tips to kick procrastination into the backside and be more productive and make the most of your time. You're going to walk away with a proven system in place that brings in new leads and helps turn them into customers for you. A clear picture of who your ideal client is, what they need, where to find them, so that you can focus on attracting them and only them. The confidence that comes with being in control of your marketing and sales process. A sales process that's much simpler and easier, and that means no more hard sales for you. Confidence in where you should focus your time and your money. The know-how to measure what works and what doesn't, so you can do more of what works and less of what doesn't. A mentor, that's me, to advise you, and a group of your peers to support you when you're feeling, because we all get there. A better, more genuine way to sell that doesn't make you feel like a used car salesman. The structure you need to stay on track with your marketing and not fall off the wagon. And a system for generating more inquiries from potential clients who are ready to invest in working with you on their dream wedding. So I know what you're thinking. How much is this going to cost me? Well, I want you to think about this. What is the cost of all the weddings you're not booking right now? The total value of everything in this program is $2,385, but you won't pay anywhere near that much. You'll only pay $997, and I'm even offering a payment plan to make it easier for you. You're going to recoup the cost of this program in no time, and you'll find that it pays for itself time and time again over the lifespan of your business. And for many of you, you'll recoup the cost in booking just 1 or 2 additional weddings. I've also got a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee, so that if you join and decide, this isn't right for me, that's okay. Just send me an email and I'll give you your money back, because I like having happy customers. And people who are paying for things that they don't want usually aren't the happiest people in the world. So now you have a decision to make. You can continue doing the things that you've always done and get the results you've always got, or you can take the shortcut and use a well-engineered, proven, step-by-step system for booking more weddings. But know that Book More Weddings Academy is only open for enrollment through September 28th, and the course begins on the 29th. To enroll in Book More Weddings Academy, just go to bookmoreweddingsacademy.com/join or click the button below this video. And when you sign up, you'll get a confirmation. You'll set up your login details for the members area, and you'll be good to go. So, if you have any questions at all, enter them in the chat box below. You just jump in there and have a peek. I'm not seeing any at the moment. Brenda, do you have any questions or anything that I should clarify?
No, I think you've been quite thorough in your description of what's involved and what to expect. Yeah, no, I think it's a valuable program, and I think people just sometimes need a system on that they can actually execute rather than randomly trying different techniques and not having a really coherent plan of how to execute everything together.
Yeah, it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you're just kind of throwing things at the wall and not so much seeing what sticks, but nothing sticks. So now you're frustrated too. All right, well, if we don't have any questions, I can wrap up here. And like I said, just head over to bookmoreweddingsacademy.com/join. You can click the button just below this video on the webinar page as well. And if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me. My email is Heidi, Heidi, at evolveyourweddingbusiness.com. And if you need to talk to Brenda, I'm sure you reach out to her as well, and she'd be happy to help you in any way either one of us can, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we wrap up, I would also encourage you to like, Heidi on Facebook and search for Evolve Your Wedding Business if you're not already a fan. She posts some great tips there, and I highly encourage you to follow her on Facebook.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join Brenda and I today, and hopefully I will see you inside the Academy.